I have testimony on another bill tonight, S-195.
Okay, we're not at 195, but if you'd like to give us your testimony on 195, I will take it now.
All right, thank you very much. Good evening, Senators. Thank you for taking the time to consider a number of bills tonight, many of which have strong and deep connections to labor, particularly that of the construction industry. For those of you here, my name is Michael Holmes. I'm a 13-year member of the Carpenters Union, third-generation union member. Today, I proudly represent my brother and sister members as a business agent and president of the local, and feel it's my obligation to share the underreach of current law and urge you to pass Bill S-195, which would increase the penalty from a misdemeanor to a felony of any business, contractor, owner found to deny a worker of more than $1,500 in wages. So what I'd like to do is take a moment to consider what $1,500 means to a worker. A study done just 2 years ago showed average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Rhode Island was $1,385 a month. So for many, this is rent. This is a housing payment. It's bill money. It's transportation. For those lucky enough, this may be that much-needed vacation that always seems out of reach. To mispay, underreport, or misreport a mistake of $1,500 is pretty hard to fathom. Current law encourages unscrupulous, business-minded people to take advantage of a worker just simply going out to provide for their family. It's a misdemeanor. It's a minor penalty. For some, it's a slap on the wrist. In the past year, construction workers have reported for work as they always have, despite a once-in-a-century pandemic, because they were labeled essential. That's a badge of honor, but comes with it risks of all shapes and sizes. To minimize those risks and to continue to allow contractors to cheat workers of their hard-earned money is not only immoral, it's criminal. And I know we can do better. The Rhode Island Department of Labor and Training has reported that the state misses out on tens of millions of dollars each year because playing by the rules cuts into one's profits. When you consider in 2018 the estimated amount of lost revenue was roughly $45 million, ask yourselves what this state could do with an extra $45 million. Newer schools, expanded Medicaid coverage, more affordable housing. Instead, it's always what it seems to be, and that we're forced to do more with less and seek revenue by other means, all because the laws didn't de-incentivize the act enough. But this reaches beyond expected revenue of cities, municipalities, and even the state of Rhode Island. Imagine yourself working in construction, making ends meet the best you can. Right off the bat, you're promised $20 an hour, but the first check comes in at $17. They'll make it up, they tell you. You remain patient and continue working. As January rolls around, you cross your fingers for a decent tax refund. Suddenly, you're hit with a 1099. Surprise! I wish things like this didn't happen, but they do, and they do it all too frequently. Consider the unnecessary burden a family feels when the IRS doesn't have the resources to help. The fallout from the holiday season and the bills that pile up weigh this family down with an anchor, and all because we never strengthened the punishment. We don't need new laws. We simply need to amend our current laws to send a stronger message that this state and this country were built by the working class, men and women. And if you're going to cheat the livelihood of those people, you do so knowing the Attorney General and a felony await this assault on workers' rights. Until then, misclassification, wage theft, cheating is all simply the cost of doing business, and we, the working people, all lose. Thank you for your time on this matter this evening.
Thank you, Michael. I have one question. You have also Ernesto Bello speaking. Is he going to speak, or are you speaking for all three? Oh, he's on.
No, that was just my testimony. I expect Ernesto Bello whenever it's his turn in the queue.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Michael Holmes? No, thank you for your testimony this evening. Next we have Ernesto Bello from the Carpenters Local 330, ready to. Good afternoon, Ernesto.
Good afternoon. My name is Ernesto Bello. I'm a representative of Rhode Island Carpenters Union. Good evening, Senators. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to give testimony on this very important legislation. I would like to start off by giving you an example of wage theft case that the Carpenters, took on to help an unrepresented worker to get paid. The example I'm going to give you happened in Lincoln, Rhode Island in late October of 2020. The contractor in question was Dakota Partners. They are a well-known contractor slash developer in southeastern Mass and in New England as a whole. The project's address was 90 Industrial Circle, Lincoln, Rhode Island. This was an individual who had wage theft committed. Her name was Esther Rodriguez. She worked on the project. She worked for a sub to a sub, which is basically she was working for a labor broker who was hired by the subcontractor, who is KJ Muller, to perform the work. The owner of JK Muller is Kimberly Muller. The sub to a sub, Carlos, owed Esther Rodriguez $2,336.32 for work performed over the period of several weeks. Esther brought this information to us at the Carpenters Union and asked if we could help her receive her monies. At this point, we gathered as much information as we could from her and began our investigation. It is standard in our investigations to go to the job site and speak to the superintendent on the job, as well as the foreman and as many workers as we possibly can. After doing so, we concluded that she, in fact, was owed the monies that she claimed she was owed from Carlos, the labor broker, who had not paid her this money. Upon speaking to him, his excuse was that Kimberly Mull had not paid him, and our next call was to Kimberly Mull. She stated that she had in fact paid him. We told her that Esther needed to be paid, and if she wasn't paid, we would turn our investigation over to the Attorney General. She got extremely upset and hung up the phone. Within 5 minutes, she called back one of our organizers, Frank Gomez, and told him that she would, in fact, pay the money owed as long as we would get off her back. We stated to her that all we wanted was to make sure that this individual was paid for the work she had performed. She agreed. After some back and forth emails, and 3 or 4 days later, Esther finally received money that she had not received in over a month. This is just one example of many of workers being stolen from on jobs in Rhode Island. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for allowing me to address you all with this very important issue. Have a good night.
Thank you, Ernesto. Does any committee member have any questions? No, Ernesto, you still on the phone with us?
Yes, I am.
That you were testifying on both bills, 139 and 195?
Yes. This goes hand in hand, as you can tell.
Correct.
From the example that I just gave you. In passing one bill, I would like to see that the up-the-chain legislation be recognized and passed as well. Because on these jobs, when these general contractors hire these subs, they're aware of their practices. We make it our job to go on the job, ask them who the up-and-coming subs are on their project. When they let us know, or when we find out through other means, we let them know who the bad players are and what they're bringing to the community and what they're bringing onto their job site. They play Mickey the Dunce, and we end up with cases like this. And it hurts our community. It hurts the people that live in our community and work in our community. And I think that it's important that if we're going to have individuals that are coming in and making a profit, both off the state and the community that we live in Rhode Island, that they should play by the rules and pay their workers and be held accountable for when they're not paying their workers. In this case, our recourse would have only been to go after Kimberly, when Kimberly, in fact, was hired by Dakota Partners, who knew how she operated, and that she hired labor brokers. So therefore, Dakota Partners should have been held accountable for this, and they're not. In another case that we had in Johnston, Rhode Island, where an out-of-state contractor from Atlanta came up to build some storage units, hired New England Drywall to do a job. They had a female worker on the job, was working for one of the sub-to-a-subs for New England. And the name of the sub-to-a-sub was Corona Brothers, of all names, and she broke her leg. They escorted her off the job, brought her to the hospital, one of the workers did, left her there, and when they left her there, they drove off, not giving any workman's comp information, nothing. She then contacted somebody that knew of us. We went out, we spoke to the super on the job. He played Mickey the Dunce, said he didn't know anything about it. The super that was on the job for New England Drywall said that that was one of his subs and that they had workman's comp and it was on him and not them. So everybody passes the buck, and the buck has got to stop somewhere, and I believe it should stop with the general contractor who is awarded the project by the developer. We need to hold these individuals accountable, because if we don't, people will continue to suffer, our communities will continue to suffer. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony. We heard testimony on Senate Bill 139, which was Senator Corcoran, so we're going to take a motion to hold on that bill at this time for further study. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. Are there any discussions? Being none, all in favor, Mr. Clerk?
Senator Burke.
Yes.
Senator Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Senator Golden.
Aye.
Senator Lombardi.
Yes.
Senator Picard. Senator Sosnowski.
Yes.
Chairman Chacon.
Yes. Okay. That concluded the testimony on S-139. Next bill up is S-195 by Senator McCaffrey, which you heard some testimony on it already. It's an act relating to labor and labor relations. Payment of wages increases the criminal penalties for wage theft and employee misclassification. There's one person that we didn't hear from, but he's here. I just saw him. Oh, here he is.